The first round of the stock Axiom Trances here in the Prism Neutron plastic. These are really stunning discs that have had kind of a strange journey to get to this point. You see, the Trance was first released back in the Circuit Challenge. We got our first retail release last year as part of the OTB Open with these special edition runs, which were kind of overstable. You see, the Trance is the numbers 8, 5, -2, 1, but this run from last year didn't really fly like that, and MVP actually agreed with that sentiment, because if you had checked their website pretty much any time in the last year, you would have seen that the numbers on the website were actually 8, 5, -1 turn, 1.5 fade for the Trance. And I actually think that is a very accurate reflection of how this disc flies. But with the stock run of the Trance, they've gone back to those numbers 8, 5, -2, 1, both on the stamp and the website. So is this Trance the flippy 8-speed driver that we've been promised, or does it fly a lot like last year's run of the Trance? Let's go find out. We're starting out on a 265-foot par 3 basket in the tree line on a slope. We do have to take the hyzer line because we have some trees hanging down in the middle of the straight line here. So we're going to start with last year's special edition run, because that's kind of our baseline that we're going to be comparing to, see how it flies. Yep, holds the hyzer the whole time, doesn't want to flip up, and that's going to be inside circle 1. It's a nice shot. Let's see if we get any flip up with the stock run of the Trance. Okay, that actually looks a bit straighter. That's pushing. Ooh, that's a nice shot too. Inside circle 1, fought through the tree line. Stock Trance pushed up here very nicely, put it out on a flat, just a little baby hyzer angle. Didn't get a lot of turn, but we pushed straight for a while before it broke to the left. And while last year's run of Trance I don't think flew like the numbers, I still really liked the flight. Like, I don't necessarily need a disc to fly exactly like you'd expect from the numbers for me to enjoy it and bag it. But when you see -2 turn, 1 fade on a disc, I'm thinking of something like the Innova Leopard or like the Discmania Essence. Discs that definitely have some flip to them. We got another par 3 here through these trees. We're throwing uphill. Just want like a baby hyzer that holds to maybe flattens out just a little bit so we get that push up, especially because we're throwing up onto a hill. Again, let's start with last year's run of the Trance. Yeah, push, push. Ooh. I think that's good. Granted, I've only played here once before, so I don't really know like what's good on a lot of these holes, but that looks solid. Now let's go stock run. Ooh, don't hit that. Ooh, nice. That's carrying pretty straight. That should be solid too. And we had the stock run skip off about 30 feet left to the basket, but we got pin high really nicely. Last year's run was a little bit short, but I really feel like they are really similar in flight so far. The biggest difference is that I've just kind of thrown this year's run a little bit flatter both times so far. Oh, and there we go. We cashed the bird. Now, -2 turn, 1 fade discs tend to be like my favorite genre of discs. I love when I can put something on just a little bit of like baby hyzer and just have it flip up and go really straight. And a perfect example of that is the Axiom Rhythm, which has the numbers 7, 5, -2, 1. This is a hyzer flip dream. I absolutely love these discs. But even the Axiom Insanity, which has the numbers 9, 5, -2 turn, 1.5 fade, is also an excellent example of a disc that you can put on a hyzer and you're going to get that flip up every single time. So we're going to compare our 2 Trances with these 2 other Axiom discs with very similar numbers, just different speeds. See how they compare. 275-foot par 3 bends a little bit off to the left, so if we put this on just a tiny bit of hyzer and have it just kind of hold that angle, just a little bit of flip up maybe, should be a really nice flight for this hole. Let's start with a stock Trance this time. A little bit of flip up there. That was really nice, actually. That's pretty much what I was describing. I actually really like that shot. All right, now let's go OTB Open run of Trance. Yeah, I mean, it holds the line. Maybe just like a baby little flip up. That's going to be a great shot. I mean, that's going to set us up well within circle 1, but not the kind of flip I'm expecting from a -2 disc. And let's see the rhythm here for comparison. Rhythm flips all the way up and then just goes straight, then comes back at the very end. That's what I love out of a -2 turn, 1 fade disc. Like, the rhythm and I, we're like this. I freaking love the rhythm. Now let's go Insanity, another driver that I really enjoy. And you see the Insanity flips all the way up and turns a little bit to the right. And because of that, we end up well right of the basket. But you can see the difference in flight of Insanity versus Trance is Night and day. They are very different discs. Despite the fact, if anything, you would think the Trance would be more understable, being 1 lower speed and 0.5 less fade, but that's one of the many reasons why I hate flight numbers. So rhythm is definitely closest, but we had the stock run of Trance actually get pretty close as well, but this rhythm is just exactly what I want on that style of shot where I can put it on hyzer, you're gonna get the flip up, gonna go straight, and just a little bit of fade back at the end. That is chef's kiss. I'd actually say that the Trances fly a lot like the old school MVP amp. Very cool disc, discontinued. They did a special run this year, but that was a disc that was an 8-speed fairway driver, pretty straight, but had that little bit of hookup integrity at the end, which is pretty much exactly how I describe both of these runs of Trances so far. Very cool hole. You just blast it out of this corridor, well downhill. There's no T sign, so I have no idea how far this is, but I see some baskets way out in the distance, so we're just gonna throw these as far as we can, see what happens. Finally not a hyzer hole, so that makes me happy. Let's start with stock run Trance. We put some anhyzer on that. It's holding the anhyzer really nicely and coming back at the end. Solid flight there. Now let's try last year's Trance. Same thing, some anhyzer, holding it nicely and then coming out. That's basically the exact same flight. Again, maybe just a tad bit more overstable. I feel like that came out a little bit earlier. We got a really solid distance here on both our Trances. They actually landed like the exact same distance, but the OTB run was maybe like 30 feet left of the stock run. So if that tells you anything, they are very similar. We're gonna throw to this basket here, probably 250 foot upshot here. We're gonna go with just our stock run of the Trance. So you just laser beam straight. That is such a nice flight. Ooh, we almost caught the basket there. Really like the flight. It just doesn't really have a ton of turn. It's just like laser beam straight, at least for my arm speed. I didn't bring my amp, that special edition that came out earlier this year, but I should have, because this is very much amp vibes all the way through. Here's a funky little hole. This is a par 3 that you either have to throw around or over this gorge. A lot of trees here. Basket is just behind, maybe like 40 feet behind that far tree line. I don't know the distance because, again, this T sign does not show the distance, but it's probably like a 250, 280-ish foot hole or something like that. I think I'm just going to try to go pretty flat through this gap up to the right of this ravine here and just fade in, see how it goes. Ooh, I think that's really nice. That might be super deep in the basket, actually. But nice flight, great, and then some fade. Let's go OTB run. Ooh, I shaved that one a little bit off. That actually might be even better, though, because I think hitting that tree probably stopped us from going way left of the basket. I didn't realize how quickly this like hill cliffside comes into play right near the basket here. So our stock run went well along and well down that hill, but we parked it with that tree hit off of the OTB run. As far as profiles go, the stock run and the OTB run are super similar. I was really curious how the parting lines would differ on these and if MVP have made any adjustments since last year's, but they are identical. Like if you just threw this stamp on this disc or vice versa, I would assume they're the exact same run, both in flight and profile. 251 foot par 3. This is a nice little forehand hole. I think these will actually be really good on the forehand because they're pretty torque resistant and you get that straight flight. I think that lines up really well for this. Let's start with stock run on the forehand. Yeah, come back for us a little bit. Ooh, that's nice. We went way long in the basket, but probably edge a circle. And let's try OTB Open run. Very solid, holding that line. Ooh, and we are right underneath the basket. So if you are someone who loved last year's run of the Trance, then I think you'll absolutely love the stock run as well. It's a beautiful disc. I think the Prism Neutron plastic is so cool. I love the Neutron core, the Prism sparkly rims. They look great. I love the aesthetic. And I really feel like they are a fantastic, just all-around driver. I love that I can throw them hard and they'll just go straight. They're not gonna get a lot of turn. They'll get a mild fade at the end, but not something that's really aggressive either. Now, if you're looking for something with quite a bit of turn, something that you can easily throw those like backhand turnover lines and just kind of turn the entire time, then the Trance is definitely not the disc for you. I actually think the Axiom Rhythm is going to have way more mileage for you. That's just a disc that's really easy to get up to speed. You're gonna see turn throughout the flight. Trances, not so much. Great disc, just, in my opinion, doesn't really fly like the flight numbers. Is what it is. Anyways, let me know if you're planning on picking up a Trance down below in the comments, or if there's a different straight flying or understable fairway driver that you've been enjoying. Let me know what that is down below as well. If you enjoyed this video, I'd appreciate if you consider liking and subscribing. You can also follow me on UDisc community at Flying Fajita or Instagram at Flying Fajita Disc Golf. As always, guys, I love you. Take care. I'll see you next time.